Back with some breaking news this morning. Reports out of the Pentagon that the program that cost $500 million and ended up training about 5 individuals to fight for the Syrian rebels has been much maligned. And now the Pentagon is saying that they are not going to do that program anymore. They're relooking at it, figuring out how to go forward in Syria. This, of course, is Vladimir Putin has put a huge thumbprint all over that country and is flying air missions over the country and support on the ground, reportedly from the Iranians that are working along with him as well. So let's see what South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham has to say about this. Republican presidential candidate and member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. Always good to have you here, Senator. Good morning to you.
Thank you.
So what's your reaction to this news out of the Pentagon this morning?
Well, it's a logical conclusion to a ill-conceived idea. The Obama administration trained Syrians to do one thing, fight ISIL. And it was never going to work because the average Syrian rebel wants to do 2 things: destroy ISIL and destroy Assad, who's killed their family. So this restriction placed upon the fighters by the Pentagon and the president that you can fight ISIL alone doomed this program to fail. Our general problem is that President Obama and his entire national security team are incompetent. And this is a good example of their incompetency. Nobody is just going to fight ISIL alone. They want to go after Assad, too.
Yeah. I mean, when I look back over the last several years in Syria and the hundreds of thousands of refugees and the thousands upon thousands of people who've been killed, who've lost their family members. I mean, when you really, I don't think people spend enough time sort of looking at the pictures of what has happened. And there aren't that many pictures because there's not that much. It's too dangerous for many people to get in there. And I think back about what the president has said over time about this, that initially, well, maybe we'll send them some support. Maybe we'll send them a few weapons. And then finally, after, years of you talking about it, John McCain talking about it, they agreed to start this program. It was just too little too late, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't see how the man sleeps at night. I don't see how President Obama really could go to sleep tonight allowing this to happen on his watch. The biggest winner of Obama's presidency is going to be the Russian, the Iranians, and radical Islam, people like Hezbollah, ISIL. This is the man who called ISIL the JV team. He clearly doesn't know what he's doing, and the worst is yet to come. If you do not come up with a ground component, we'll never destroy ISIL. So the way to train the Free Syrian Army is to train them to fight ISIL and Assad. And the reason he won't go after Assad, he doesn't want to upset the Iranians. Assad's a puppet of the Iranians. So at the end of the day, what does this matter to us? It matters that ISIL is going to continue to thrive, and they're coming here. They're already here. My biggest fear is that President Obama's incompetency is making another 9/11 very likely, and it's probably coming from Syria. People trained by ISIL in Syria, they're coming to America to attack us. That's why you need to hit them over there before they hit us here.
Well, that was definitely the concern of James Comey yesterday, and also Nick Rasmussen when they spoke before the committee on the Hill, talking about the fact that they believe now that ISIS has surpassed al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda, which has been, sort of the biggest terrorist boogeyman that this country has feared, obviously, since 9/11, is now not the top guy anymore. And as you point out, clearly not the JV team. And they present the biggest threat to us. They're talking about the online threat, the social media dominance that they have achieved. We don't hear a lot about it, though, from the administration.
Well, the reason they don't talk about it is they always undersell the threats and oversell their successes. But I'm here to tell you, and I've been saying this for 3 years, another 9/11 is coming. ISIL has 3 goals. They want to reform Islam, make it in their image, and kill everybody in Islam who disagrees with them. They want to destroy the one and only Jewish state Israel and come after us, the infidels. We're going to get attacked again because ISIL is projecting force outside of Syria. President Obama has no ground game when it comes to destroying ISIL. We will not destroy them from the air. Russia is ensuring that Assad survives. He's destroying everybody, trying to take Assad down. And if Assad stays in power, it means the war never ends. The Syrians are not going to accept him as their leader. The refugees continue to flow, and ISIL uses Assad, an Iranian puppet, as a recruiting tool. Yep. This is a complete disaster, and it's coming our way.
It's very clear that this is the main passion for you and the main motivation. I tell me if I'm wrong, for running for president.
Certainly one of them. Certainly. I want to be a commander-in-chief worthy of the sacrifice that can protect our homeland. Our homeland is at risk because Barack Obama doesn't know what he's doing.
When you look at the numbers, though, do you fear that message is not resonating? Why do you think it's not? Why do you think people don't seem to be, lining up behind what you're talking about?
Well, they are in small groups. When I talk to people in New Hampshire, Senator McCain's going to join me for 3 days. I tell them 2 things. I'm committed to destroying ISIL. It's going to take a ground component. Most of the fighters will come from the region, but we're going to need to send more troops to Iraq, eventually a regional army made up of Arabs and Turks, and would be part of it to go in on the ground in Syria. And most people in New Hampshire says, yes, that makes sense because they know ISIL's a threat to us. So it's a building process. It's going to take me time to break through, but I will. I am the best qualified person to be commander-in-chief. I will destroy ISIL using a regional approach to it. I will isolate Russia and Iran. We can do this with good leadership. Without good leadership, we're going to get attacked again.
Isolating Russia and Iran is becoming an increasingly difficult task. So, we'll hear what you have to say about that going forward. Before I let you go, what do you make of what's going on over in the House and the race for Speaker?
Well, Paul Ryan would be a good pick. I like John Boehner. They'll pick somebody that can bring the conference together. We will find a way to raise the debt ceiling, replace these defense cuts, and fund the government. I'm more optimistic now than I was a few days ago that this will all work out. I hope we can get it done sooner rather than later. We'll find a good substitute for John Boehner. Paul Ryan would be a great speaker.
All right. Senator Graham, you're a champ to come in. I know you got a bad cold, and you're out there on the ground in New Hampshire, like the rest of the folks who are running for president. So,
plugging away.
Good to see you, sir. Take care.